Everyone from the Uber's squad is shocked to their core by Hiyori's play. However, someone who is ready to attack is Isagi, who screams at Hiyori to win this. Isagi thinks that by Hiyori covering for Isagi's blind spots, he then managed to plug the holes in their defense. We see Isagi and Hiyori advancing up on the field with Hiyori being deep in his metavision. Sendo comes by and thinks that he is someone but gets out dribbled by Hiyori. And I don't know why, but this little panel is so satisfying that I can't stop staring at it for some reason. Anyway, after Sendo lies Nico waiting, but before he can do anything to Hiyori, Hiyori has already managed to get a pass off to Isagi. These two are sharper than ever, as there's no room for errors now, and by Hiyori perfectly syncing up his winning vision with Isagi, they are able to steam up the field, even involving Yukimiya in their attack. As they are trading passes, Hiyori thinks that Isagi has many weapons in his arsenal like his Metavision, Football IQ, and Direct Shot. However, Isagi's greatest weapon is without a doubt his ability to devour his rivals while still continuously fighting inside this twisted and chaotic field. Isagi's ability would have never awakened it if he hadn't come to Blue Lock, and is also the foundation of his ego. And right now, that ego is trying to propel him to become the world's best player, and only Hiyori holds the key to awaken his revolution. The emergence of the next football hero, and a hero that will change the history of football, is only a vision that Hiyori can construct and envision. That's the one thing pushing Hiyori forward and is why he plays football, which is the foundation of Hiyori-Yo's own ego. Let's just take a quick second to admire how Hiyori absolutely crushed the Uber's players in this panel. Like bro wasn't even thinking about them, but he still got behind them like they were nothing, even mere air to him. And I can't explain, but Hirori's way of dribbling and getting behind his opponents looks so clean and satisfying. Even the Uber's players are saying that Hiyori's way of getting behind them is outright filthy. Hiyori's eyes are burning with determination, as he says that mass-producing goals isn't the only way to become an egoist, and that it was Isagi who helped Hiyori realize, because Hiroi is an egoist who produces the game with his passes. Here we see Hiyori fully looked in as he spots the perfect position for Isagi. Hiyori notices that Isagi wants to make a run for it, and to then uses a direct shot. Hiyori locks onto Isagi and passes him as he says that the future that Isagi envisioned, it's finally time to synchronize his vision with his goal. Hiyori's pass is going forward at an outstanding pace, and Isagi tries to run away from Aiku, who's looking him down nicely. The pass is perfect for Isagi. However, as he goes into his direct shot position, Lorenzo and Aiku comes back and tries to stop him. Lorenzo has his tongue out as he tries to be Rin, and he tells Isagi that it's the end of the line here. However, Isagi thinks that it's going perfectly, and that everything that is happening is exactly how he envisioned it. As Lorenzo goes in for the ball, Isagi instead taps the ball, which makes it go over Lorenzo's head. As Hiroi is watching from afar, he says that this was their plan along, making the first move to be a fake, to then turn around and use his lefty direct shot, creating a two-stage attack that allows Isagi to create enough space to shoot freely. I wish I could say that it ended here, however Kaiser is coming behind Isagi, telling him that he knew about their plan and that he will be taking this as he sprints to Isagi. Isagi is stunned, saying that Kaiser knew that he was going to fake out Lorenzo with his right and targeted the instant he was going to shoot with his left leg. Kaiser is planning on stealing his goal in mid-air, however Isagi has had enough of his shit. So he still makes his lefty shot, saying that the ball is his. And with that, the two of them create a joint attack by combining Kaiser's Kaiser impact with Isagi's direct shot to create their new combo shot, which I would say is my new favorite shot of the series so far. However, of course the Ubers are here to ruin the fun, as both Ryu and Baru are at the line and manage to block the shot with their legs. Even Ryu is stunned to see Baru at the defense line, and on top of that blocking a shot. Isagi lands and says that thanks to Kaiser he couldn't cleanly strike the ball, which made it a worse shot. Hiyori is still in the back watching it go down and says that he can't believe it. He and Isagi were in perfect sync, but the way Kaiser and Baru stopped them from scoring, it's almost like the two moved in a way that surpassed their expectations. And even though they are playing the game perfectly and flawlessly, the rate that the rest of the field is evolving is still a bit faster than their combined decision making, and for them to fully dominate at this level, they are unfortunately still one piece short. And with the ball high up in the air, everyone is rushing to get their hands on it, but the ones who get there first are Ryu and Kunigami. However, Ryu uses his outstanding jumping skills to head the ball first. The ball bounces on the ground before it goes to Aiku and Kaiser, but suddenly out of nowhere, Isagi comes and is able to get off a pass to Hiyori on the side. Hiyori gets the ball, and Isagi screams at him to go one more time. Thanks to that, Hiyori knows that Isagi still believes in him. Hiyori thinks that the best thing to do is to reset their attack and surpass their previous winning vision, to create a brand new attack pattern. But just as Hiyori is getting ready to attack with Isagi, he sees two silhouettes of his parents behind him. They are telling, or almost forcing him to shoot the ball instead, telling Hiyori that they expect great things from him and that he needs to become the number one. After that, Hiyori gets a rather unpleasant and worried look on his face as he says that from the start, his parents heaped expectations on him, which he absolutely hated, and the whole point for him coming to Blue Lock was to escape those expectations that he was drowning in. But right now, isn't that all he's doing? Trying to live up to Isagi's expectations like his parents. But it's different with Isagi, as Hiyori doesn't hate the expectations Isagi has set for him. Hiyori is in despair, trying to think of the right answers, when another silhouette appears before him, but now it's Ego who's also telling him to shoot, asking Hiyori if that isn't what being a striker is all about. Then it clicks for Hiyori, as he thinks that the missing piece to the puzzle might be his shooting ability. Isagi is running on the side, trying his hardest to get Hiyori's attention as he shouts at him to look at him and to give him the ball. Hiyori is about to do what Isagi says, as he's the reason Hiroi's managed to get this far. But suddenly he thinks back to him and Karasu talking back in middle school, where Karasu told him to believe in himself, to find something that truly gets his blood pumping, because if you don't start there, you'll just keep running in circles. And with that, Hiyori finally says that he gets it, as until now he never took his future into his own hands, but instead let his parents decide his future. He then blamed them and ran away because things didn't go his way, because that was his way of not getting hurt. As he gets behind Nico, he says that he is afraid of being alone and abandoned, but then making a 180 and calling himself pathetic. He pretended that he is some stoic person when he's really just a coward who keeps on running away. But from now on, he won't hide behind people's expectations of him anymore, because from now on he will believe in himself, and if he ends up being alone and abandoned after that, then that's whatever, because if he was truly born for the sole purpose of playing football, then this shot will be his answer. Hiyori says this as he fires off an absolutely outstanding shot against the goal, which means that he betrayed Isagi, who is looking at him with a stunned expression as the ball is flying past his face. Both Aiku and Lorenzo are thrown off by Hiyori's shot, which came out of nowhere, but just when you thought that it will finally end, someone else comes in the way, and this time, it's none other than Sendo Shuto, who is by the goal, and jumps up to barely touch the ball, but still touch it, enough to make it bounce away, making Sendo save another super close goal. However, as Hiyori is witnessing this, he looks destroyed, saying that he knew it, and that he wasn't a person who was born to play football after all. However, someone doesn't agree with that, and it's Isagi who has pieces flying around everywhere as he compliments Hiyori, saying that he's finally found his ultimate winning formula. As Hiyori watches the ball flying in the air, he thinks that he wasn't a person who was born to play football after all, saying it with a crushed and destroyed expression on his face. The ball falls down to Aiku, who traps it perfectly, but Hiyori couldn't care any less, as he says that he suffered so much and experienced so much frustration from all of this. He tried so hard to believe that playing football was what he was made for and what was his purpose. However, that shot told him that he wasn't worthy, but honestly, he felt okay with it. After he goes home, he will sit down with his parents and tell them. He will finally tell them that he's done with football. Hiyori is casually standing on the field, while everyone else is running around in chaos. Hiyori has a bittersweet expression on his face as he says that he gave it his all and that he can now move on without a single regret. He thanks Blue Lock for his blessing and even lets out a smile of relief. However, while Hiyori is in this euphoric state, Isagi out of nowhere comes running to him, screaming his name all that he possibly can. Hiyori looks over with a surprised face to see Isagi with burning eyes telling him to do one more. Hiyori can't understand what is going on. While he's trying to figure out what Isagi is saying, the whole Uber's squad is beginning their counterattack and is rushing over. Hiyori is frozen as he thinks that Isagi still believes in him, but just why? Hiyori decided to shoot and betray him instead of passing, so why would Isagi still have faith and believe in him? Isagi is running like never before on the field as he screams at Hiyori to not even think, telling him to go crazy and to surpass their wildest imaginations and to do it on reflexively. When Isagi says that, Hiyori remembers that it was that exact advice that he once gave to Isagi in the third selection. But why would Isagi say that now, and what could he mean? Hiyori is totally dumbfounded as he says that he doesn't get it, but still, he wonders what it is that makes him desperately want to meet Isagi's expectations of him. He thinks back to his parents' expectations of him, and how horrible they were, saying that every single one of his parents' expectations was always focused on his physical specs, meaning his human side of things. But with Isagi, it's different as Isagi's expectations aren't focused on the human side of Hiyori, but instead the things that he can change through actions. His expectations are super goal-oriented, especially goals that have the power to change his destiny. Ever since he arrived at Blue Lock, Isagi has been searching for comrades who can help him achieve that reality, which is why everyone gets drawn to Isagi's ego and tries their best not to get devoured by him. While Hiyori has been thinking to himself, Lorenzo managed to get the ball away from Isagi and up to their ace striker Baru, who's in a one-on-one with Yukimiya, who's desperately trying to stop Baru from shooting. To help Yukimiya, Raichi comes and says that the two of them can trap him, so Raichi goes in and tries his best to cover the goal. However, as time passes, Baru starts getting more angry and aggressive until he's had enough and pushes both of them to the side to get off a shot at the goal. But sadly, all of his efforts will go to waste as Kunigami is waiting for the goal. He calls Baru a redhead gorilla before he blocks the shot from Baru. Isagi compliments Kunigami's block, but he's so stuck up with himself that he tells Isagi to shut up and that he didn't do it for him. All the 22 players on the pitch are trying their hardest to win this match, or I should rather say 21, as Hiyori is slowly jogging in the back. Hiyori's disappointed because just when he thought that he could move on, and just when he thought that he could finally go home and play some video games, he was finally ready to quit football for good when it all went into ruin. After that, Gagamaru catches the ball in the air and throws it up on the field right away, telling them to finish this game already. But suddenly, someone says that he already knew that Blue Lock was a twisted madhouse, and that Gagamaru's shit pass won't lead to the finishing goal. It was Hiyori who said it, and is now back in the game saying that just one last time he will make an exception while looking at Isagi and saying that this will be his last attack on Isagi's crazy and twisted ego. Hiyori gets down on the ground and right off the bat, both Nico and Lorenzo come rushing toward him. Nico tells Lorenzo that they will crush him with a high-press trap design, which Lorenzo is on full board with. However, Hiyori has gone into rage mode as he tells them to just shut the fuck up as he does an outstanding rainbow flick over both of them, and then sneaks behind Lorenzo before he can even comprehend what is happening. The ball falls to Isagi, who tells Hiyori to keep up the tempo. But as Hiyori hears this, he wonders who the hell Isagi thinks he is, as he's ordering Hiyori around, saying that if it weren't for him, Isagi wouldn't even be able to impact the game at all. He thinks this as they make a 1-2 with each other to get away from Lorenzo and Nico. Nico is stunned by what Hiyori has just managed to do, and Lorenzo is just weird as always. Anyway, Hiyori gets behind another Ubers player like it's kindergarten football for him. Even though he's getting behind the players with ease, it feels like he isn't even paying much attention to them, as he in his head says that after this match, he will quit football for good. He sees Isagi coming behind the Ubers defender, so he passes him. But after that pass, Hiyori suddenly gets a random realization, asking himself what it is that he's doing, running around like a crazy maniac while feeling a rather unique feeling. He wonders if it is due to Isagi's nosiness, kindness, or even friendship, but it's definitely none of the above, as Hiyori couldn't care less about any of it. And if he's being frank, then the only thing he cares about is seeing whether Isagi really is the real deal. And if Hiyori holds the key to becoming the best, then he wants to experience the moment that the world changes around him. But this also confuses Hiyori, as he can't believe that he has such a greedy ego deep inside of him. As he's getting back the pass from Isagi, he says that this is the first time that his mind and body are in perfect sync when playing football. He doesn't really understand it, but says that this might be the feeling you get when you start to believe in yourself. But even with this new and crazy feeling he's experiencing, he's still set on quitting football after this match. He finally stops thinking for a second as he passes the ball to Isagi. However, Isagi does a little Mario jump above it and lets it roll over to Yukimiya, who is in a one-on-one with Drago, but he's still able to get the ball back to Hiyori. Hiyori sees that they are 38 meters away from the goal, saying that he's still not in the range to deliver the final pass, but just maybe Isagi can manage to get behind the defense. But they still haven't broken it down, so how could he do that? But at the same time, this just might be the perfect timing for them to score. Isagi is quickly and swiftly trying his hardest to run behind the Ubers, but even with his attempts, Hiyori still says that they are too far away, saying that he hasn't shaken off his marks yet, and he starts talking about the best option for them to take. When suddenly, out of nowhere, Isagi just decides to stop. Hiyori is angry, wondering why the hell Isagi decided to stop, and tells him to keep on moving. Hiyori asked him how the hell he was supposed to pass the ball to him if he was standing still with two defenders behind him. He wonders if he wants Hiyori to try and go for another goal again, or what it is that he's thinking. But suddenly the piece floats together, and Hiyori remembers what Isagi said beforehand, telling him to don't look and don't even think, just telling Hiyori to surpass their wildest imagination instinctively. Hiyori is in shock after realizing Isagi's plan, calling Isagi a real maniac, and wonders how he will even be able to pull this off, saying that no matter how you look at it, this is crazier than anything he's ever done before. Isagi's eyes have a determination like never before as he tells Hiyori to sense it, the field's own blind spot. Hiyori thinks that it's possible while mostly theoretically. Isagi tells him to do it and says that he's the only one that can do it. So Hiyori throws all of his thoughts to the side and calls Isagi an arrogant bastard before telling him to do it. Hiyori is getting ready to pass with both Aiku, Nico, and even Kaiser before him. And that's not all that's in front of him, as there's a ton of pieces flying like crazy all over the field as the two of them are getting ready to make history. Hiyori says that Hiyori Yu will now become the center of the world. Nico knows that he can't stop Hiyori in a one-on-one by himself, which leads him to his only option, which is to try his best and slow down Hiyori's attack. As Isagi is waiting by the defenders, Ryu says that right now Isagi is playing off Hiyori's movements to receive the final pass. Ryu is still set on keeping him locked down and refusing to let Isagi move freely. However, it isn't just Ryu who's deep in his thoughts as Aiku is carefully analyzing the field, saying that by aiming for the chaos created by those two by predicting the trajectory of Hiyori's pass, Kaiser's only intent is on forcibly snatching the winning goal, which Aiku is sure of, so he knows not to take his eyes off Kaiser. Kaiser is coming towards Isagi, while saying that he will kill him, and I know that this is Blue Lock, but that seems a bit too far, even for Kaiser. But I don't doubt that he would do it if he got the chance. Anyway, Hiyori is currently going crazy against Nico. He's dribbling the ball so fast that Nico has absolutely no idea which way Hiyori is looking to go. He analyzes Hiyori's movements and says that he will go right, but just as he goes in for it, Hiyori moves to the left side. This not only gets him behind Nico, but also opens the pass route and they are now both ready to do it. But as Isagi is getting ready to receive the pass, Aiku sees something else. He sees that Hiyori is only looking at the ball and understands that Hiyori is planning to shoot the ball all by himself. This turns out to be true as Hiyori gets into a shooting position and is ready to fire it off, when unfortunately, Lorenzo comes out of nowhere. Lorenzo calls him selfish, but admits that this is all that Blue Lock is about. Lorenzo goes in to take the ball, only to realize that Hiyori was planning on doing a feint all along, which even leaves Nico wondering what Hiyori is up to. The ball goes up in the air, but that's when Hiyori's next threat comes into the picture. As the king himself Baru comes by, he calls Hiyori predictable and says that in the end, he's just gonna pass after all. Baru screams at Hiyori that the pass route is now sealed off, telling Hiyori that without Isagi, he's just an insignificant lackey who is too weak to stand up and fight for himself. But Hiyori has a look in his eyes like never before. It's almost like his mind is fully in the game and nothing else. Anyway, Hiyori tells Baru that he was too slow and also throws in a dumbass because why not? As Hiyori is surrounded by 3 Ubers players, he says that he can already see Isagi winning the final goal. And just then, out of nowhere, Isagi, without looking at Hiyori, just starts sprinting. And not even Kaiser understands what is going on at this point. But then it clicks for them all, as Isagi runs away from Ryu, and Hiyori gets a window open up from Baru. Everyone on the pitch sees that the two of them aren't even looking at each other, and instead putting their full trust that each other will be there at the correct time. Hiyori's and Isagi's eyes are burning like never before, and it's more than enough to burn the whole Blue Lock Stadium to the ground. Anyway, Hiyori finally gets off the pass, which just goes over Baru's leg, and is heading into the pit of players all gathered around each other. Hiyori asks Isagi if he's there, which Isagi definitely is, as he catches the whole Uber's defenders off guard, and is now almost free from them, even leaving Kaiser behind them as he looks at Isagi clueless. As the ball falls to Isagi, Hiyori and Isagi in sync say that if they are the real deal, then by clashing and crossing their visions of becoming the best player in the world, they will be able to go even beyond their wildest dreams. The ball is falling down, and it has a glow around it like never before, as Isagi Yoichi, the Blue Lock's MVP, the Blue Lock's egoist, and Bastard Munchin's new ace, he gets into direct shot position and absolutely demolishes the ball as it falls down to let his leg. Fukaku tries his best to catch, but I don't even think that the best goalkeeper in the world has a chance of catching it as it goes into the net and finally gives Bastard Munchin their well-deserved lead. Isagi and Hiyori are absolutely ecstatic as they jump up in each other's arms to celebrate this insanity of a goal.